Hey guys, today we're not gonna do the intro. I haven't posted since yesterday or something like that, or no, Wednesday, something like that, my guy. So yeah, um, just so you know, another series that will be coming is What If Deku Was Luigi? I got this idea from a song. So yeah, if you know what I'm talking about, it's if you're looking at what the concept is gonna be, it's gonna be Luigi versus Smash Bros. That's what the song's called. It's a 3-part thing. So yeah. Um. Yeah. So yeah. Let's begin. What if Deku is or made a deal with Bill Cipher? Now, let's begin. We begin off in Izuku Young. And it's the day that they checked if he had a quirk. And he's quirkless, of course. And let's say Inko is by herself and she hates Izuku, right? And yeah, she left him in the forest and drove off. Izuku's walking around, trying to see if he could get home or try to get to the city at least. Something, right? But he passed out. He didn't know why, but he just passed out. And now we go with another character. And this person isn't a human. It's a triangle type of humanoid thing. And he's just floating around because he knows he's powerful in this world, but he's lost some power, so a human could defeat him with easily if they're strong enough to face against what he is. Right? And that's when he stumbled on Izuku. And this thing woke him up by tapping on him. Izuku woke up in fear. He said, "Please don't hurt me. I didn't do anything. My mother left me. Please, please." And this character said, "So, your mother has left you, I see." And he said, "Yes, please don't." He says, "Shush, child." And all of a sudden, the man's hand turned on and turned into blue flames. Right? And he said, "Let's make a deal." And Ezekiel said, a deal? And he says, "Yes. You in this world is called middle fingers, if I'm right." And he says, "Yeah, there's things called middle fingers. Why? I mean, not middle fingers, sorry. There's things called quirks. Why?" And that's when he said, "Simple, boy. Do you have it? Do you have one?" And Izuku said, no, I'm not. I don't have one." And this character was shocked that this person didn't have a quirk. He's been on this world for a while. And he said, "Okay." And his hand's still on fire. And Izuku's wondering what his quirk is. And he says, would you like to make a deal?" Right? And Izuku said, "A deal? What do you mean?" He says, "Yes or no?" And Izuku said, "Yes." And they shook hands. And Izuku instantly felt this pain of burning in his eye. And it just burned. And this was a little test for this person. Right. Give me a sec. Anyways, sorry, my sister was talking to me. And yeah. And Izuku's eye was bleeding. And Izuku says, "I don't feel pain anymore." And this person says, "So, you've passed. Do you know my name now?" And instantly in Zuka's head, he said, Bill Cipher. And this thing said, "Correct, boy." And now, we transition to different people now. We transition to Bakugo. He's young, but he notices that Izuku never came back for the next day. And it happened for the next month. Izuku hasn't been back from checking his quirk. And some kids are scared. Bakugo thinks he just left school because he was useless or something. But in reality, Izuku's training. And for some reason, he actually lives somewhere. And he's been growing a little bit more. Right? And he's taller than what a normal kid that's his age would be, right? And yeah. Let's see if we could find another image. I like these. So yeah. Anyways, so yeah. And let's say Izuku was just on his phone, because he has a phone, right? And he sees these heroes. He sees these heroes going famous, and All Might. He doesn't care about All Might anymore. He despises him a little bit, right? He doesn't care about any hero. He just wants to be a hero, just to show that he's better than everyone, that he could do more things. He's capable of more things than he could ever do. So yeah. And let's say that let's say the bill came out now. Just came out of nowhere and said, "Come on, kid, it's time to do some stuff." Mizuki said, "Fine." And they started walking, and this home that they're in is different. It's more, the home is a lot different because you could think that you're going downstairs, but in reality, you could go upside down. You don't know where you're going at all. And yeah. And yeah. They made it outside, and Izuku knows everything. He is the smart. He is like a different thing. He isn't human anymore. He's what Bill is, a monster in a way, a demon, whatever you want to call him. And let's say there's actually been reports of Izuku, right? And people didn't know that this they've reported that there's this boy out in the forest. He wears a yellow suit, right? And everything. Because Izuku looks like this, right? And yeah. And every time someone sees him, he just disappears. Like he was nothing. And yeah. And yeah. Hold up, give me a sec. Okay. And now, okay, what was I? And let's say Izuku was just starting to train with him, and dude, if these two met in reality, holy, we would all be in danger. Jesus Christ. Holy, I would never like to see that ever. So yeah. anyways, like I was saying, he was training, and all of a sudden, Izuku passed out. And Bill is like a father figure, so he doesn't know what happened. And Izuku's head, if you get what the images I'm doing, you should get what's happening. In Izuku's head, he sees another version of him in Bill. And Izuku has mastered one ability out of hundreds that he could do. But he's mastered one. And that was his flames that he's able to do with his fist. Right? And he sees another version of him and another version of Bill, right? And he asked his Bill, "What is this?" And Bill said, "Kid, you gotta understand something. There's millions of universes out there. And us, these guys just walked in like stupids. Right? Right, Will Cipher?" And he said, "Wait, how do you know them?" He says, "Simple. I've walked into their universe numerous times." Right? He's happy about meeting them again. But he's never met the Izuku boy, the other boy. He said, "So, Will, who is this boy that you brought with you?" He said, "Well, Bill, this is Izuku." And he gulped. And Izuku looked at the other Izuku and said, "Okay, so why were they in my head?" It's a simple. Since they walked in, they're going to be part of you now. And Will said, "Yeah, I guess. We're just going to be another version inside of you, pretty much." And Izuku says, "Whoa, I did not consent." And Bill looked at him and said, "I don't care if you consented to this, boy. Remember, we made our deal. You can't go back on that." And Izuku said, "Yeah." And yeah. And I just want to say, if you're wondering what his age is, he is 10, and he is like, hold on, let me look up what the average 5-year-old or 10-year-old height is. Give me a sec. Okay, so yeah. It says 10-year-old is about, let's see, 50. I don't know what that means. No, I just want to know what I write. God, dude, I don't understand anything. 138, 138.4, 138.4, 138.4. So that is what? So he is 6 feet, okay? He is 6 feet. There we go. He is 6 feet, and yeah. UA's a college. I need to say this more, but yeah. UA college. So, yeah. Anyways, like I was saying, and yeah. And they're talking, and yeah. Now, we're gonna do a time skip to about So I said use 10. We're gonna do about, not 8 years, about 5 years later. Izuku has a job, and it's this, right? He's a coffee person. And the ship's not gonna be Dipper, so yeah, don't try. So yeah. And yeah. And he's making a coffee right now for some customer, and he's not paying attention who it is. And that's when he gave it up, and he saw who it was. It was his own mother, right? And she noticed him, said, "Izuku," and he didn't answer. She said, "Wait, Izuku, come here, please." And he's not answering. He's just ignoring her. Oh, and she's starting to get louder, and people are looking now. And now she's screaming. She's yelling, "Izuku, come here right now. Listen to your mother." Right? And that's when he snapped. He said, "Mother, you abandoned me. Remember that." Right? And everyone looked at Inko, and she ran out. And yeah. And the manager was there and said, "You could take the rest of your day off, Izuku." I said, "No, I'm just gonna finish my shift. I only got an hour." And yeah. And yeah. And with Bill inside of him, inside his head now, is Bill feels bad, and so does Will. Will and the other version of Izuku. And yeah. And let's say his last order was for this random girl. Right? He didn't pay attention to who it was, but it was some girl that said, "Sorry about your mother." And he said, "Sure." And yeah. And yeah. Now we go to... Okay. Now he's 15. And he goes to a different high school. Because he has to. Just to be in school for heroes. So he goes to the same school as Todoroki. So yeah. And yeah. And he knows he is the strongest. People respect him, right? And Todoroki, and they all think that the only thing that they really think is that Izuku has two quirks. That's what they think, right? Or, well, he's told them that he has one, and he calls it he calls it cipher, right? No, I had a better name earlier. I'm trying to remember what it was. I don't know what it was. It was like, oh yeah, he calls himself the dealer, right? The dealer. And because he calls his quirk the dealer. Well, that's what he has to call it. And with this, they think that he could only make his hands go on fire and he could teleport, right? And yeah. And let's say that. Sorry. Let's say that Todoroki one day at during their PE, right? And they were supposed to see what they were supposed to try out their quirks. They had a pro hero there to see, right, and tell them what they could do and stuff. Give me a sec. Okay. So yeah, right. And the hero wanted to see them to go against each other, and everyone knew that Todoroki was one of the strongest, and so was Izuku. So, yeah. And I'm sorry. I'm just a little tired, just a little bit, you know. So yeah. Anyways, like I was saying, let's say that they were, well, hold up. I'm fixing my thing. Okay. Okay, sorry. I was just watching some dumb ad. Anyways, and the hero put Todoroki against Izuku. And Izuku doesn't care about friends. And everyone's known his eye patch. And let's say one time this kid tried to take it off. But Izuku grabbed his throat and threw him like it was nothing. So they know he's strong and extra. Pretty much like they know he's very strong. And yeah. And he pops his neck and says, "Come on, Shoto. What can you do?" And Shoto starts using his ice on him. Izuku's melting it. It's not even getting near him. Izuku walks towards him. The hero's impressed. And let's say, like, the hero it was like, let's say, Miss Joke, right? Yeah, Miss Joke. And she's impressed by Izuku, right? And, yeah. And Shoto's trying to use his ice. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Okay. He's trying to use his ice and everything, but it's not working. He's getting madder and madder. And he's getting hyperthermia now. He's using a little bit of his fire, right, to melt the ice off. And that's when Izuku teleported. Said, "You should use all of your quirk, you know. It's not fun if I only get half of you when I'm not even using anything, right?" And that made Todoroki furious, right? And instantly, flames came out and everyone had to get back. And let's say Cementos was also there in Midnight, right? And Midnight was ready to use her gas. Cementos was about to wall it off. Well, he walled off all the other students, and Miss Joke said enough, and she used her quirk. And I'm pretty sure. Hold up, what is her quirk? Hold up, I want to see that. Miss Joke's quirk. You can easily replace me. I'm trying you. No, I did not want that. Yeah, what is her quirk? Miss, here. Let me just. I'm pretty sure, isn't it like something that she makes other people laugh, right? Age, I don't care, gender, female. Outburst. Yeah, it's like makes them laugh. That's what I thought. Why did I get rid of that? I'm so sad now. God dang it. Who cares? So yeah, and she makes her start laughing as usual. And Izuku's laugh is monstrous. Just imagine Bill's ciphers laugh, but worse and louder. Like Izuku's in. And Izuku, it's supposed to weaken their quirk, right? Let's say, but it's not doing anything to him, right? It's just making him happier. He's walking towards Todoroki, and Todoroki starts burning him, and Midnight starts using the quirk now. Starts using her quirk on Todoroki. He knocks it out, but the fires are still humongous, right? And and the thing is, they see Izuku getting burned, but it's nothing to him, right? he might get burned. He's laughing. He doesn't feel pain. Remember? And he says, pain is hilarious, don't you think? Right? And that's when all the heroes were in shock of Izuku, right? So yeah. And now we go to sorry. We go to Midnight knocking out Izuku, and Izuku collapsed. Now in his head, he thinks to who is it? Bill and Will and the other version of him. And they're saying, so, you can't really feel that much, huh? And he says, no, I can't feel pain. It's the best, right? And yeah. And they say, you should probably just show them what you could have done. And he says, if I showed them what I could have done, they would have thought I was a villain. I can't allow that yet. Right? And yeah, give me a sec. Alright, so yeah. And they're all laughing about it. And now Izuku wakes up and he's in the hospital, or in the nurse's office, right? Yeah, in the nurse's office. He wakes up and he sees two teachers around him, and that's Cementos and Miss Joke. Cementos is supposed to cover him just in case something goes bad, right? So yeah. And yeah. Now we go, and Izuku says, well, that was fun and all, but what time is it? And he notices that school's up, and he says, well, I should probably get home. And he gets up and starts walking, and that's when Miss Joke grabbed him and said, hey, what is your quirk? Right? And he says, it's just nothing really. I call it, what did I call it? Oh, I know, his hero name was going to be called Dealer. Not his quirk. Crap. He's just gonna call himself Bill Cipher. Okay. He says, my quirk? Simple. It's called Dealer. And yeah. So yeah. Yeesh. That's bad. Okay. And yeah. And let's say that Izuku went to sorry. He went to his shop and yeah. And he's just serving coffee. And that's when he noticed two kids. And you'll see who they are. And if you know who I'm talking about, you should know. Give me a sec. Okay, so yeah, he gave them their drinks, and he says, okay, here's the hot chocolate extreme with AAA sprinkles with a dash of coconut into it. And that's when the girl said, oh, that's mine. Thank you, right? And the boy says, Mabel, that's way too much sugar, you know. She says, shut it, Dipper, right? And Izuku laughs, and they both look and said, it's something funny. And he says, and Izuku says, oh, yes, it's just how you two act to each other. You two siblings, right? Right, and they said, yeah. And he said, nice to know. If I may ask, can I know what your quirks are? Just if I can ask. And he gives the kid named Dipper his coffee. And he said, Mabel, the girl named Mabel said, well, what I could do, I kind of have a not strong connection of telekinesis. I could raise things and stuff like that. Knives, I I do stuff that could probably pin down people because I want to be a hero. And that's when the boy named Dipper said, well, I could cast monsters from this book. And he shows him and he says, oh, you see, that all? He says, yeah, pretty much. Nothing really special. He says, huh, not bad. Well, here you two go. And he starts walking, and yeah. Now, let's say when he was done with his shift, he was putting on his suit, right, to leave. And yeah. And I like that one so much. And let's say these two kids waited, right? And they said, can we talk to you for a second? And he said, yeah, give me a sec. And yeah, and they said, can we talk to you? And he said, yeah, and yeah, they went on. And these two are talking, Dipper and Mabel are talking, and Izuku's just walking behind him, humming just a little tune, right? And they stopped, and that's when he said, so. And he said, would you like to be friends, right? And that's not, Izuku was kind of caught off guard by that. He said, why not? And yeah, they started hanging out more, and they've been friends. Now we skip to a 2-year time skip, because he was 15, now they're 17, and Izuku transferred schools to go to their school, and it was called Gravity Pines, or Gravity Falls, right? And yeah, and you have these three in the middle of, in the hallway, like this, right? And yeah, and let's say out of nowhere, Izuku got attacked by some person. We're gonna say, who should it be? Let's say a random child, right? And his quirk was speed. So he knocked down Izuku while the two were standing. And those were Mabel was pretty much piggybacking and riding Dipper. And yeah. And they got down and picked him back up. And Izuku says, thank you. And he looks and sees who it was. And it was some kid, right? And it was one of the popular kids. Because Izuku's been here for a month at least, right? And a lot of the girls that used to like that popular kid have been liking Izuku, right? And Izuku looks at him and says, sorry, pal. What was that for? Right? And instantly Izuku went like this. He started making his hands on fire. And the kid said, oh, like that will touch me. And all of a sudden, Izuku is behind him. He says, yeah, like it will. And he touches his back and starts burning him. Not severely burning. Just kind of toasting him a little. Right? And yeah, the teacher comes out and says, Izuku, no. He says, fine. And his hands go back to normal. And yeah. And now, let's say at lunch, right? They're talking, and different girls are sitting down. And Izuku doesn't care. Oh, and I might make this ship, Mirako. I don't know for sure, though. I was thinking Mirako, and then since I added them, I was thinking other children, like Wendy or so, you know what I mean? So, yeah. And, yeah. And, give me a sec. Okay, as I was saying, yeah. So, they were pretty much eating lunch. People were coming, mostly girls were coming to their table, and yeah. Hold up, I'm gonna fix my... Okay. I should be good for right now. So, yeah. And, yeah. pretty much what's gonna happen is when they were eating and lunch is over, Zuko starts walking. And yeah, nothing really else happens with him. The end of the day starts, and Izuku has been talking to Bill and Will, and they agreed to a deal that Izuku has made with them. So he takes Dipper and Mabel to the back of the school. No one followed them. And they're wondering what's going on. And that's when Izuku said, "Would you like more power than what you originally have?" And they're confused, and they say, "What do you mean, Izuku?" He says, "Dipper, those monsters, where do they come from?" And Dipper says, "I don't really know. I just think it's my quirk." And he says, "Dipper, that's where I come in. See, one of those monsters are called Bill, and if you look him up, he kind of, what does it say?" And the description for Bill says, "It is a high-class demon or monster. Smartness is infinity. Can trick anyone. It makes deals with people, even if they don't want to. He'll make deals if they need to." And yeah, hold up, give me a sec. Okay, so yeah, and he said, "Well, meet Will and Bill." And all of a sudden, the the other version of Zuko comes out of his shadow, so as Bill and Will. And yeah, and they are in shock, and let's say that they instantly start using their quirks on Izuku. And Izuku said, "Calm down, monsters, go, please, Bill, Dipper, put your monsters back now. Come on, we don't have to do this, right?" And yeah, and he says, "Fine." The monsters go back. Mabel, though, is still hesitant. And he went closer. Mabel, let's say, had a knife, and she kind of flung it at him. Dipper tried to catch it, but he wasn't there in time. And it stabbed Izuku in the chest. And he kept walking, and he said, "Calm down. It's okay." Right? And she says, "But I just stabbed." And he says, "Don't worry." He pulls it out with ease, and says, "I don't feel pain like that." And he breaks the blade. And he says, all I was gonna ask is, would you like a little bit more power? It would enhance your quirks, right?" And they said, I, they said, "Can we have some time?" He says, "Yeah. If you guys need some time, go ahead. I'll give you until next meetup, okay?" And they said, "Okay then." And yeah, and their next meetup was in a few days, right? So yeah, and now we're gonna go with Mabel and them, right? And they're deciding what to do. They don't know if they should or not. And yeah, and yeah, they don't know if they do it, what will happen to them. And he keeps thinking of what will happen to him, right? If he does join them, right? And yeah, and Dipper is trying to think of what might happen, but Mabel is saying, if it'll help us, I guess we should, right? And Dipper is hesitant though. He doesn't want to take. He trusts Izuku a lot, right? But he doesn't want to take something that could hurt them badly. So yeah, and yeah, and let's say that The day that they met up, Izuku said, well, what's your choice? And they said, we agree. And he says, okay, follow me. And and that's when they start going. They go into this darkish type of room, not really dark, right? It's just kind of like a little back alley. And yeah, he says, you guys could go back if you want. I don't want to do this if you don't want to. He said, and Mabel said, come on, let's just do it already. Can't be that bad. And he says, yeah, can't be that bad. You might feel a little bit of pain, okay? And they said, okay then. And it began. First start off with Izuku. Not Izuku. Well, it did start off with Izuku. Izuku started to... his hands turned blue, right, in a way. And he says, shall we make a deal? And they both shake it. And that's when it begins. Dipper first. It starts burning his little birthmark. That's the Big Dipper. He says, it hurts. Mabel, help. And she says, it's okay. Just go through it. He says, okay. And Izuku's shot is doesn't want this to keep going. He doesn't like this. He knows what the process feels like. And finally, it was over for Dipper, but then for Mabel, it was hard because he doesn't like seeing Mabel cry. The only time he's seen Mabel cry is when someone has tried to hurt her. And when that's happened, Izuku's always gotten mad at that. So yeah. And she's crying. She's saying it hurts badly. Help. Please, right? And all of a sudden, she passed out. Dipper ran over and said, will she be okay? And Izuku looked at Dipper and said, she'll be okay. She just got into shock, right? And he says, oh, thank God. And yeah. Do you feel stronger, though? And he says, yeah, I do feel very much good, though. Right, and yeah. And yeah. And that's when, let's say, they were, well, like, they went to Izuku's home, let's say. And let's say that's when they Mabel woke up and said, so I feel a little stronger, but nothing really changed. And he said, well, let me show you then. And all of a sudden, he snapped his fingers, and this blue type of triangle came out of nowhere and said, hello, I'm Will. Right? And they're in shock. They said, who, what? Right? And yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Dang it. And yeah. And Will gave them everything that they need to know. So yeah. And yeah. I'm gonna end it there, and the next part will be the entrance exam. So yeah. and just do a little funny video to end it off. Here you go.
Before you scroll, send this TikTok to one of your friends, and if they don't respond within the next 5 minutes, they have to buy you a Samsung Black Stainless 24 karat feet family hub French door refrigerator.
Peace.